Well, let's talk to David Bailey, Professor of Business Economics at Birmingham Business School. David, let's get this right then. They're going to build petrol and diesel engines, but we've been boring on forever about their imminent demise. What's going on?
You're quite right. I've been banging on about electrics for ages. Essentially what this is saying is the internal combustion engine is going to be around for quite a long time. Last year, out of 70 million cars sold, there were 10 million electric cars, 60 million internal combustion engine cars. Now, even if electric cars really take off, which they will, there's still going to be a demand for hundreds of millions of internal combustion engine vehicles over the next decade or so. Remember, Europe isn't banning hybrids until 2035. It will be much later in other parts of the world. So two companies coming together, trying to get their costs down, share costs and share risks, and also try and develop those hybrid engines that will be used throughout much of the world over the next decade and beyond.
Now, I thought Brexit was putting a stop to all of this car industry investment in the UK.
Brexit has certainly had a big impact. All the uncertainty around Brexit deterred investment, and making cars, particularly electric cars in the UK, has become more difficult because of those non-tariff barriers. I don't think we're going to be seeing Renault-Geely making engines in the UK. I think the executive headquarters will be there. The operational centres are likely to be in Madrid and in China, and production spread across 3 continents. I think what this really does open up is a big low-cost manufacturing operation for Renault in China. The hope is they can assemble engines very cheaply and then sell them to lots of other car makers. And remember, those car makers are investing very heavily in electric vehicles. They can't afford to continue developing the internal combustion engine, so Renault-Geely are banking on being able to do it for other car companies.
Where does this leave environmental ambitions then, and the abandonment of the internal combustion engine for the industry?
Well, I think we are going to see a shift away from the internal combustion engine. Electric vehicles really are taking off, but it tends to be on the west coast of the United States, in the European Union and in China. The transition in much of the rest of the world is going to be much slower, and the key technology, I think, is going to be hybrid engines. That's exactly what Renault-Geely will be focusing on. So hybrid technology, I think, will be widespread across the world. That is still going to be an environmental improvement. Longer term, we'll see a shift towards electric vehicles. And remember, both companies are also investing very heavily in electric vehicle technology as well. They just see a transition technology in hybrids being around for a very long time.
So does this give us a sense of what the UK's purpose might be like in the future, that it's the design hub, the technology hub, but the product is built somewhere else?
It seems that way, doesn't it? And we've seen that also with Ford looking to take out some of its research and development from the UK in recent months. We don't know how much of an executive centre will be in the UK. I mean, in the worst case scenario, it's simply going to be a place to report the profits and not pay much tax. What I would like to see is exactly what you're alluding to, a lot more in the way of research and development. That's something the UK is very good at. Some of the best car designers are educated, trained, and live in the UK, and the UK is very good on engine technology. So I hope there'll be more than just a headquarter operation and much more in terms of actual research and development.
You know, we're always reporting on the rather tense geopolitical relationship between China, the EU and the UK, but the truth is the business relationship just carries on, and it carries on growing, doesn't it?
Very much so. And, you know, Western car makers have been dependent on China as the biggest market for a long time now, the most lucrative market. They've been operating in China for a very long time. What this is showing is Geely, who's been, you know, a very, very dynamic company. It owns not only Volvo, but Proton, Lotus, the London electric vehicle company, looking to expand even further internationally. I think what you are seeing is the internationalization of the Chinese automotive industry. We're going to see more strategic investments in Europe from those firms and much greater integration between Western auto firms and Chinese firms going forward.
David, good to see you. Thank you for that. David Bailey, Professor of Business Economics at Birmingham Business School.